morning, Liz.
Good morning, Caralyn.
How are you?
I'm excellent. How are you?
You look excellent.
Thank you.
You're in a different, I just want to giggle. Honestly, I
I
feel like
know.
we're just going to be in a fit of giggles, which is not good for the audience, but we just spent 11 days together in Mexico. That's where you are right now. And so I'm a little jealous because I know you have that stinking sliding door open with the beautiful air coming in and the waves in the background.
I do.
Oh, look at it.
Yes.
Oh,
I
I
know.
loved where you were in Mexico. And it's been a couple months since we've recorded, so we are off. So in one respect, I now know you pretty well.
I know. We had so much fun. So much fun.
We
I
did.
love
I
everything
cried.
about
I
it.
cried. It took me probably on the way back to the airport. It took me maybe 10 minutes to stop crying, like to get my tears in order. And my Uber driver was silent the whole time. And then all he said to me when I got out of the car was 5-star, please. So
That's all they care about.
I'm like, oh, I'll tell my
I
friend to
know.
give you 5 stars. It's her.
Yes.
Anyway.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. I stood there after your Uber pulled out, for more than a few minutes. Yes.
I'm sure
I
you're
know.
like, no, what am I going to do? The other ladies aren't as fun. I'm just kidding. The other people that are.
We did really hit it off, and it was just so lovely to see you in person and to hug you and to feel your just amazing, loving energy.
Oh, thank you. Well, I
Yeah.
noticed that, like, I think you and I are pretty similar off camera as we are on camera. Like,
Yeah, pretty
literally,
much. This is
they,
what it is.
yeah. I had told somebody, it was an older couple I was sitting with on the airplane on the way to see you, and I had told them I was going to meet you for the first time in person, and they were like, oh no. Oh no. And I said, well, we've been doing these Zooms together and I've read her book and I know her story and no questions off limits. So I think we're going to be fine. And I think we were just fine.
We were more than fine.
It was,
We were pretty freaking
yeah, it
awesome.
was awesome. And that's really nice when two people can
Yeah.
connect like that, right? So thank you for hosting. Mexico was amazing. And I'm so glad you're still there. It's so nice to have this beautiful background.
I'm very grateful. Yes. Yes. Getting work done and also playing. So,
Yeah. So are
yeah.
you working on your hair at all?
I knew you were going to mention that. I knew you were gonna mention that. I'm working on growing the gray. That's what I'm
It,
working on. So it's coming in.
I love this
Um,
part. I love this part. It is awesome. You've got a good gray, like it's beautiful
uh,
white.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll see how it turns out. Yeah, it has a mind of its own, and with being in the pool and sleeping, it's just honestly, it's not worth the effort and the time for me to try and do anything other than, if it's not this, then it's like this. So
Well, your hair's shorter
I'm
than
not gonna
mine.
fight it.
Your hair's shorter than mine. So when my hair is really, really bad, I do the top knot and everything is in there. But you've
Yeah.
had a few fun hair moments, and I love that you really actually don't give a fuck. but you also play like a child. Like that's what I noticed about you, which is why I love your book. You are a very authentic person, and so even in the pool, you're like, I have to go underwater every time I get in the pool. Like almost nobody
Not
over
swimming.
40 ever says that.
It's not real swimming if you don't go underwater.
Yeah. Yeah, and I love that you love that. And then your hair dries and it's a mess in the back and you just don't care. And
I
I'm
don't have
like,
to see the back.
I and I did.
Yes, you
And I really mostly don't care, but yesterday when we were talking planning for today, I'm like, are you going to do your hair? Can you
I know.
put it? And so
And the answer is no,
this
I
is
can't.
as done. It's like and then I said to you when we first got on, I'm like, yeah, I know what it's like to parent you. I literally know what it would be like to parent you.
Pretty much. Yes.
Which is
Yes.
awesome. Which is awesome. So today I want to we decided to cut these videos to make them a little bit shorter, which I love. I think anyone viewing them will like that, appreciate that as well. But we'll still go through your chapters and touch on every single chapter. So today is the Meditation Meadow. And this is not the first time we're talking about it. This is not the second time we're even recording it. This is the third time we're recording this effing thing.
Well, yes. And in our defense, we've had a few technical issues, and I would like to acknowledge how far we've come with technology.
Pat ourselves on the back.
Right? Hmm. Yeah. So third
Two
time, what
two
do they say?
older
Third
women.
time's the charm.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think I need to clean out my computer and create more space. I am not sure how to do it, and I will figure it out. Call my Mac person anyway. I found it really interesting that you put the meditation chapter in Victimtown, not in Freedomville. So that was just my first thoughts. And then I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
of course it belongs everywhere to some extent. Tell me about, what is meditation to you? What can it look like? And just describe it, because I think there's a lot of people that are not familiar with meditation. There are the people that really know meditation can skip through this one, but the people even I am learning to meditate in new and different ways. And what does it look like? Talk to us.
Yeah. Okay. Well, first of all, I put it in Victimtown because for me, meditation is it's an internal thing, and it doesn't need ideal circumstances or ideal places. It's something that we can literally do anywhere, anytime, right? It comes from it comes from our heart. And I think that people in Victimtown also need a place to go for reprieve. And yeah, a lot of people, I think, are intimidated by the word. It's become trendy. It's become the new fad, self-help, spiritual awareness kind of go-to thing. And it doesn't have to be that hard. It's not hard, and it's not complicated. Um, we can start with 5 minutes, and it can be anything that feels right to us. And the way I meditate, it changes and morphs. While I'm here in Mexico,
Mm.
I call it's meditative for me to sometimes just sit on the balcony and gaze out at the beauty, to see the palm trees, to see the ocean, to watch the breeze making the leaves on the trees twinkle when the sun's coming up in the morning, to walk on the beach, to just sit and watch the waves. The waves coming in for me are really meditative. And we did that together, and we
Yeah,
talked about it
you
too,
commented on it. Like, you're like, look at the rooster
right?
tail.
Right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember that.
Yeah. It's kind of, it puts me in a little bit of a calm trance, like almost state, similar to watching the flames of a campfire. It's just that beauty. And when we can calm our minds, that chatter, that chaos, that shitty Victimtown voice in our head, that is the purpose of, well, that's what meditation does for me. And the purpose of meditation is not to get good at meditation or to be better at business or to advance your career or to manifest whatever you want in your life. It's to just feel that calmness, that reassurance that you're okay, everything's going to be all right, and right here, right now, the world, or my world, inner world, is my immediate world, is peaceful and calm.
Mm.
And when we go within, we have the capacity to do that regardless of the chaos or the situation that is happening externally. And the way that I start, and I think my biggest tip for people, is to just breathe, to focus on your breath, and just think about that, and to not try to control the thoughts that come in your head, because lots of us have really busy minds. And if you're being quiet and wanting to spend the time not working in a meditative state, to just let those thoughts come and then let them go. If we resist and push against the thoughts coming in, then, guess what? They're just going to come in louder and more forcefully. It's like anything in life that we that we push back against, we're just going to get it more. It's going to push back harder. So I just let the thoughts come in and, oh, that's interesting. Maybe I'll have to think about that later,
Mhm.
and just chill, try it out. It could be
I
walking in a
love that.
forest. I like to, not here, but at home, I'm a big fan of bubble baths in the evening. And for
Mm.
me, that's very meditative.
You do cold plunges as well. Do you find that you need to sort of get into that a meditative like calm state before you go in?
What?
Oh no,
Yeah.
you're walking into the ocean. You're not jumping in, you're actually walking in, which I think is so hard.
Yeah,
It's a challenge.
it takes a lot. It takes more, for sure, more fortitude or a determination, because it hurts.
Yeah, you said
With
it,
with with
isn't it
every
at
step,
38 degrees Fahrenheit or something like that? Like that's super
yeah,
cold.
it's really, really
Super
cold,
cold.
and it physically hurts. It's painful. The cold is painful till I hit about 30, 40 seconds, and then I guess, you just get numb. So yes, I do spend a couple of minutes with some deep breathing and, gazing out and, gearing up. I have to gear myself up. It's not like I just walk down and walk in. I need a minute
Mhm.
to get ready.
You
Yes.
must feel a lot of presence though in that moment when you're in the water like that. There's nothing more shocking than to keep you here in this present moment than feeling all of that pain, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like feeling that discomfort, feeling it all. It's like it's really about feeling it and letting it go and being in that moment. Like you can't be anywhere else. You're really not complaining about your
No, you
mother-in-law or something like that when you're in the water in that
can't.
second. Like that's presence.
You're absolutely right. Yes, there's nothing else I can focus on, but, holy shit, this is really fucking cold.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and for me, the the benefits of staying in there, and I don't stay in there a long time, and I don't swim around. I mean, there are people
Mhm,
that do that,
mhm,
and I'm not there yet. I don't know if that's where I even aspire um, to get to, but the after effects are what pushes me to keep doing that. The dopamine, I mean, I read this somewhere or heard it on social media. I think when you snort a line of cocaine, for example, the dopamine hit peaks at about 9 minutes and then immediately crashes. With cold plunges, and you don't have to stay in that long, the dopamine keeps rising for hours and hours afterwards. I forget how many, like 7, 8 hours.
right, right.
So the benefits, they just they last,
Yeah.
which is what I like.
Yeah, yeah. Well, definitely one form of meditation is that. Another form that you and I did as much as we could when we were in Mexico was we sat on the beach and watched the sunset. And I was so
Mm,
reminded of like, well, number one, I love sunsets because no sunset is the same twice. My children
yep,
think I'm absolutely crazy. They're like, you've seen a sunset before. And I'm like, you haven't seen this one. You haven't seen this one.
exactly.
It's like seeing like a new, to me, like a new Van Gogh art. Like just because you've seen one doesn't mean you've seen it all. And don't you want to see the others? Like anyway, but just I was reminded of the how fast that sunset seemed to set. Like you could never just hold on to it. So it was about enjoying it, but letting it go, letting it go, letting it go, and seeing this the scenery shift moment to moment to moment. But then being present and just being there with it and not like even wanting to take photos, like to keep that camera away and just to be present with it and just to be presence even with your energy and the sun. You know what I mean? Like I was aware of it all and the peacefulness of it and just choosing to be in that moment, choosing to put those thoughts aside.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
helps to
The sunset environment makes it one of the most ideal environments to do that. And yeah, it's a finite time, when the sun sets. I mean, there is the afterglow, the aftermath, which is
yeah.
also just as unique and beautiful as the sunset itself. But I think if you sit and watch the sunset with almost anybody, people get quiet because it's one of the most beautiful things that Mother Nature shows us.
Mhm.
And we get it every single day. And even if it's cloudy and you can't see the sun, there's still the pink glow. And yeah, I feel the same way. I love it too. I rarely miss one. And yeah, they're all different. It's one of my favorite things to do.
I love that. So when you were at the place, had you been meditating before you went to the place, or is that where it really started to stick with you? Like, oh, this could be a practice that could help me in life and this journey.
Yeah, I was introduced to it and started practicing it many years before that. I was on waves of healing and self-help and trying different things to feel better when I was not well. And that kind of went like this over the years before. The place put a different spin on meditation. It helped me realize the true benefits of it. And I was also introduced to guided meditation, which I wasn't familiar with so much before. And it was not a requirement. They had somebody to facilitate it every single morning. It was an optional
Mm.
thing, but I didn't miss a single one. And the app that I love and use is Insight Timer. The free version has a huge amount of meditations to choose from. You can search by length and topic and everything else. So I do a mix of both. I like a lot of the guided meditations. And I also like to sit just quietly by myself. And that app also has a timer, and you can also set interval bells on it, which I find
Oh.
helpful. So for me, I have to set a timer, because if I don't, my fear is, oh my God, I'm gonna sit here for a freaking hour. I have no concept of the time, and I need to know that I'm going to allocate X amount of time to do it. And it's always interesting to me to how I feel. Sometimes it feels like the time, if I set it for 20 minutes or 40 minutes, even, sometimes it feels really fast. And like, I can't believe that the bell rang. And sometimes it feels like an eternity,
Mm.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I love
So,
that. Oh my goodness. And I love that you mentioned that. I think both ways of meditation can be beneficial. Like I find
yeah.
I lean on the guided meditations. I use one of my channels that I love. I listen to her guided meditations, and I like those when I need either direction or I'm finding it really difficult to just quiet my mind. Like I just have had a busy mind day. But I do practice the one-on-one, just me and me and source, me and soul, because it's
Yep.
connecting and then listening to what those messages are really important, because we're talking to ourselves all the time, or source is talking to us all the
Mhm.
time, right? And then for me and for you as well, because we're on a very similar journey, it's learning to decode the messages that we hear, because it's not always words. It could be a symbol. Well, what does that symbol mean? Or what does that little dreamlike experience mean? Or what does that mean, right? So I love that as you journey further into it, it morphs and changes, and I think that's great. But it's an easy thing to do, and I think it's an important part of the
Yeah.
journeying to the self process, right? It's not just a recovery thing you want to do; it's just a constant journeying.
For me, it's giving my heart voice some love, and it's giving my heart voice some space, and the opportunity to show up. And it may not be during that meditative practice that I hear any messages or solve any problems or come up with any brilliant ideas, but I for me, it's important to have that quiet time to give it room to, and the opportunity to show up, you know? I mean, it's not much different. I'm remembering now, my mom used to make me do it, and I used to make my kids do it. And we had some ulterior motives for sure, but the benefit of the end result for our children was the same. When my kids were outgrowing needing their nap, I insisted that they had quiet time. And I mean, it was as much for me as it was for them. And they were allowed to have, one book and some stuffed animals, but no active toys on their bed. And it was, an hour or 2 hours, and you don't have to sleep, but just be quiet. Just quiet your mind and still your body, and rest. And think, ponder, just be, you know?
Well, I think too, you said something about it's not necessarily like you're having great epiphanies or whatever. And I think that there is sometimes a thought process that you have to come away with, oh, I meditated and I came up with this life-changing thing that's going to change the world. Sometimes it's just about meditating and getting the idea to clean your house or getting the idea to whatever, but it's about learning to listen to the ideas. So for example, one thing, like this is sort of how the universe works. You had this thought drop into you that while you're in, now I'm going to tell you your life here. While you're in Mexico, you have made an effort. You have a friend that has a stall in a marketplace, and you are going and just having so much fun with her, but sharing your book, sharing your bookmarks and that kind of thing. And then you had the thought, wouldn't it be nice if I could be at a bigger market? Do you want to talk about this just for a second? Because this was a kind of like universal, like little thing that I thought was neat. You had the thought, that was a receiving
Yeah, this
from
the this
yourself. Like, I would like to do this. I would love for you to just tell that story.
Yeah, it's a synchronicity, and you and I both love synchronicities. So we've got lots of synchronicity stories.
Yeah.
Yes, I had so much fun meeting people and handing out bookmarks and great conversations about life and vacations and just a million other things. And I thought, I knew about this bigger market. I thought that would be really fun. It's once a week, and I wondered how I would find out or meet somebody, or if it was even possible. And then somebody else mentioned it to me, that market, and I said, yeah, I was thinking about that myself.
So that's
And
synchronicity number one. Like, you thought of
so
it,
that's
then someone
synchronicity
else
number two,
mentions it, right?
right? Yes. And then I was with Beatrice B, and we were talking about the people coming and about markets and stuff, and she said, oh yeah, she'd love to do other markets, and we were talking about the different markets around, and the Santa Cruz market got mentioned. And I'm not kidding,
Three,
within,
that's your third synchronicity because she was on board with you, right? Okay, sorry,
yes,
go
yes.
on.
And then, I don't know, within an hour or so, a guy and his girlfriend popped by, and the girlfriend was really interested in B's art. So she'd gone into the studio, and the guy and I started chatting. The title of my book, I've got a little pop-up sign, Navigating Shitstorms, is pretty attention grabbing. It seems to resonate with a
It's a
lot of
good
people.
cover. It's a good cover and a good title.
Yeah. So we were chatting about that, and he's looking over, and he says, "So what's your relationship with B?" And I said, "Well, she's my friend, and she does the art, and I like to do art too. So I'm doing a bit of that, and talking to people about my book." And he said, "So I have a stall at La Cruz Market, and I rent it out to two different artists every single Sunday." And I was just like, "Oh, no way! That's so cool." And we had a great conversation. I hope that we are going this Sunday. I still don't have confirmation. People in Mexico, even for business arrangements, things are pretty chill and loosey goosey, and
Yeah, yeah.
they get back to you when they want to get back to you. Things are not scheduled, and arrangements are not made with the details that I'm used to, even in BC, which is a far cry ratcheted down from Ontario.
Right.
So I am adjusting to that. But the synchronicity is he just showed up. He showed up, and he has the booth, he has the tent, the table, the chairs, everything else. And the financial arrangements are very fair. And he was just super nice guy. So there you go.
So look at that. Like,
I
people will
know.
say, well, that has nothing to do with meditation. But I think it's the intention with which we live to connect to ourselves, to be open
Yeah.
to, okay, universe, this is what I would like. deliver it to me. And you didn't even have to
Yeah.
freaking effort for any of that. You just had the thought, you had some conversations, you followed what sounded fun, and look what you've created, which is just absolutely incredible to me.
Yeah, I think that that's it's a really nice like bonus. I don't think it works if that's the purpose for meditating. But I think that the environment of meditating absolutely fosters and encourages and gives energy to all of those intentions and synchronicities. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely,
So I
absolutely.
encourage people to give it a try. 10 minutes
Yes.
with no pressure, and
Yeah.
to feel to do and feel the way and the times and the duration and the how for what feels right for you,
Mm.
right? It's a very personal experience, and there's no right or wrong way to do it without any judgment whatsoever. Um just give it a whirl.
No.
See what
Well, thank
happens.
you. Thank you. Thank you for that today. Appreciate it. We're going to sign off now.
All righty. Talk
I
to you soon.
appreciate it. Yeah.
Mwah.
Bye.
Bye.